I tested it when I was setting it up. I mean, it sounds all good.
And now their opponents, Team Manitoba.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Shouldice Field here in Calgary, Alberta, as we get set for day number 2 of the 2025 U18 Women's Nationals. Brendan and Cole with you here on the call for Team Indigenous taking on Team Manitoba. Chris, good to be back in the booth with you.
Absolutely, it's good to be back. Finally, we got a beautiful day for some football, as Jim Carrey would say, beautiful. Excited for this one to get going.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun matchup. Weather cooperating with us here today as opposed to back on Sunday when there was a little bit of difference. But we are going to go right to our land acknowledgement and our national anthem, and then we will be right back for the start of this one.
In the spirit of reconciliation, Calgary United Football acknowledges that we play on the original territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot First Nation tribes of Siksika, Piikani, and the Gaelic, extending the Dakota First Nation of Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Gibson, along with the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Métis Nation of Alberta region. Now will you please rise if you're able, remove your hats and caps, for the singing of our
So after the national anthem, we are going to send the players out for the coin toss, and while that goes on, both of these two teams currently scoreless in the actual tournament. Chris, what do you expect from today's contest?
Well, this is a very important game for both teams. Like you said, looking for their first points of the tournament, but also looking for their first win in order to get into possibly a bronze medal game on Saturday between these two teams. Manitoba played a very tight matchup against Saskatchewan. I know the score didn't really necessarily dictate that, but Manitoba was in that game for most of it, kind of got away from them at the end. And Indigenous, it's just shaking off that drubbing that they faced against Quebec and coming out here, making some positive plays, and you never know what could happen. Football is a crazy game, and that's why we love it.
That we do, and again, both teams really just coming in with a positive mindset. Again, the last 2 days for practices for both of these two teams, unfortunately for them, very, very wet conditions of practicing,
yes.
But they both felt like they have ultimately been able to learn, get some scouting, get a little bit of time off, and enjoy the city of Calgary. But all that changes here once we have the official kickoff. Team National Indigenous in the red and black, while Team Manitoba in the gold and black. And we are almost underway.
Absolutely. It looks like Team Indigenous will take the ball first. Look like Manitoba will defer to second half. So we will see this Indigenous offense first. Made some positive plays against Quebec. But like you said, had a couple days of practice to get familiar. Wet conditions. We have ideal playing conditions today. And it's exciting. This is the second game. Nerves should be a little bit out of their system. They should be familiar with the hotel and everything like that. So I expect a much better game out of these two teams today.
6-on-6 football. If you're just joining us here for the first time this weekend, thank you for hanging out with us here at the 2025 U18 Women's National. Again, day number 1, we saw Quebec defeat Team National Indigenous, and then we saw Team Saskatchewan end up beating Manitoba, and then we saw Ontario end up beating Alberta for the final game, and we have these two teams squaring off in this matchup, and we are almost ready to go.
Pretty much call this semifinal Wednesday because it's big games for the final on Saturday. Boogity, boogity, boogie. Let's get going. Let's play some football.
And the kick is up. Decent looking kick right there as it able to go over to number 22. She picks this one up and actually makes a decent little run, but Manitoba doing a fairly decent job.
Kira Bowie, the kicker, ran up there and made her own tackle, and she was a force to be reckoned with in that first game with her kick. She absolutely boomed a couple of them, especially with the punts, and that's awesome to see. Great hustle, and to begin the game, you just want to go out and hit somebody, and she's definitely into the game now.
DeChambeau making the start again, hands that one off, and Kay ends up falling down on that one.
Just tough handoff there. Try to hand it off to number 2, Helena McKay, and she just dropped the ball, luckily pounced on it. And it's second and long now for Team National Indigenous.
Yeah, not necessarily the way you want to start off of a handoff like that, but Helena McKay had herself a decent-looking game back on Sunday. Has to put that play behind her. Toss, handoff goes right to her, and she ends up bowling over, gaining a couple on that one.
Good positive play. Just basically get back the yardage that they lost on that. So we'll see what Indigenous will do here. It is third down. Don't see a whole heck of a lot of punts, but they are very deep, and it looks like the punting team is going to come on.
Yeah, the punting unit definitely going to make their way out here again at this stage of the game, with it only being about a minute and 2 seconds into this contest, not necessarily terribly deep into your own zone, but wise idea to ultimately go out there and punt this one.
We'll be interested to see as the game's coming up. A lot of teams coming up later don't like to punt the ball, and they'll go for it third and whatever, and we'll see what happens here, and a decent kick.
Randy Haywood chasing after in that one, and is going to elect to just have that one go out of bounds. So we're going to see Manitoba's offense making their way out there. Browinski, the quarterback, we got to watch her last Sunday. What were your thoughts?
She did really well. When she started to move her legs, that's when she was really effective. When she was in the pocket, she allowed the pressure of Saskatchewan to kind of get to her a little bit. So I expect her to roll out a lot and use number 64, offensive player of the game, Addison Turtsky.
Browinski in the shotgun. Do have a penalty marker on the play, but we have a long shot. That one's caught. It's going to go for a while. Eden Gates picking this one up, and it's actually going to be Trevanley making the toss and getting the start there at quarterback for Manitoba today.
Urza Omar was about 15 yards offside, so this one's going to be coming back.
Yes, it is, but nonetheless, even though getting a little bit of an easy break on that play. Still a nice confidence builder on the play. Getting that long toss again, that's not something that we saw a lot of from this Manitoba offense back on Sunday.
No, absolutely not. And player to watch for Manitoba, number 20, we kind of highlighted her last game against Saskatchewan. Eden Gates is an absolute weapon out there for the Manitoba offense. She can run the ball. She can catch it like she saw. Watch for her to be very involved in this offense.
Out of the shotgun. Hands this one off to Eden Gates. She runs left. Has a bunch of room. Going to get a lot of it back. And ends up getting the first down. Taken down right at the 54-yard line. What a run.
Absolutely, just using that speed, using the outside. Good blocking by that offensive line. Number 62 for Manitoba, Sydney Howard, got out there and kind of sealed the block. Number 7, Brianna Default, was also there for Manitoba. And a good gain and first down.
Yeah, you're not going to complain after a first and a mile getting the first down on that run.
On a run, too.
Big explosive play for Living in the shotgun. She's going to scan the field. She's going to try to make that toss, and that one's easily deflected by Travener Gill.
Great play by Raven Travener Gill out of Calgary, Alberta. She's home on this field, and she jumped that route. Really good defensive play, knocking the ball down and bringing up second down for Team Manitoba.
Crescent Hearts Wildcat player ultimately jumping up and making that one. So we have 2nd and 10. Last time that we saw a second play from these guys on Manitoba, quite the run. 11 back, all alone, running back screen. That one almost intercepted by number 4, Chloe McKay. A dangerous situation. The two-way player breaking that one up.
That is just a smart play by McKay, recognizing the screen. Manitoba was trying to go to number 64, Addison Turtsky, the offensive player of the game last play. And that's just smart football, not overcommitting, just recognizing what is happening and bringing up third down for Manitoba. So one good play for Manitoba, but good job by the Indigenous defense holding strong.
Punter is back, able to collect the ball, sends this one up in the air, has some actual pretty decent distance. We go right around the 30, and we do have no yards penalty coming up against Team Manitoba. So we're going to tack on a few extra here for Team Indigenous.
Absolutely. Good job by Justice Barons, though, finding a lane there. So I believe that the yards gain will kind of negate the no yards, but good field positioning starting out for Team National Indigenous. Not a great first offensive series, but we'll see what they can do here. Get some momentum going forward.
Late substitution there for Team Manitoba as we get everything situated and sorted. But again, Sienna DeChambeau coming off of that ACL injury all the way last year, where it ended up essentially leaving her not being able to play for an entire season. Talking with the coaching staff prior to the game, she used to be a very mobile style of quarterback that would be able to run outside of the pocket and do a little bit more of that. Still wanting to be a little bit cautious with her, but they said we're not necessarily going to be too surprised if we see that a little bit today. But Helena McKay with a short run up the middle.
Good job by Elena Bailey getting over there, and McKay has a little bit of size advantage against her, and she just took out the legs. Great tackle by number 16 as you see her just jump up into the hole, no fear, and that's great to see. In Manitoba, we saw this against Saskatchewan. They are a very good tackling team. When they wrap you up, you're going to go down.
DeChambeau all alone, scans the field, able to find number 9 Cardinal. We have a late flag coming in on this one right around the tackle, so we'll have to wait what the officials give this one.
If I'm going to guess, I think it's going to be face mask on Manitoba. They kind of grabbed number 8 for Manitoba. Sophie Zelensky kind of got up around that head area, and it looks like that Team National Indigenous is going to get their first down of the game.
Yeah, again, you're not necessarily going to ask too much of how you get the first downs as long as you're able to get some.
Mm-hmm.
First down is officially going to be the call, which nonetheless moves Team National Indigenous forward. And again, a decent looking play. Again, a quick wide receiver screen that ultimately resulted in that face mask.
That's the thing with six-man football too. You kind of use your boundaries a little bit more because there is a lot more open field. So expect Team National Indigenous and also Manitoba on offense to use their boundaries and try to get their playmakers out there in space to make some plays.
The fake toss ultimately results in a handoff. McKay stiff-arming only able to gain a yard and a little bit on that one, but initially it looked like it was going to be quite the play, but unfortunately we do have a Team Manitoba player down on the field. Again, just going back to Sunday, the horrific injury that ultimately happened. I was able to get a little bit of an update. Players, unfortunately, still in hospital, but parents are there. The team has been in constant communication, and everyone seems to be in high spirits, which is all you can really ask for. But, early injury down so far in this one after what was a short run by Helena McKay.
Absolutely. You could tell, that Manitoba's playing with a little bit of heavy hearts with their teammate in the hospital suffering an ankle injury, and they had to get carted off. It was heartbreaking to see, and Manitoba wants to pick up this victory here today, but unfortunately another Manitoba player is down on the field. We'll try to get the number and try to get what it is. Looks like they're favoring their leg.
Yeah, never love to see it. Again, one of the things we always talk about in the world of football, whether to play on turf or natural grass, again, you talk with any professional soccer league or football in terms of leagues around the world, they are all on grass.
Yes.
It's really only here in North America, Canada, and the United States that plays on artificial turf fields. Both have their benefits, both have their downside, and one of the biggest downsides to turf fields is can unfortunately have some of these injuries.
You're landing on cement, essentially. Like, no matter the padding that you put underneath this field. Of course, back in the day, they used to play on AstroTurf, which was essentially playing like on concrete in the schoolyard. And I remember in Saskatchewan, Ricky Williams, when he played for the Toronto Argonauts, put his arm down to stop his fall and broke his arm. And after that, the CFL was like, we're going to switch up the fields. But definitely would prefer a little bit of grass. But, of course, in turf, sometimes you get your legs stuck, and unfortunately it looks like the cart is coming out here once again for Team Manitoba.
Yeah, just absolutely heartbreaking to see this sort of situation happen to Team Manitoba.
Two days in a row.
Just any player in general, but, for Team Manitoba, this just has to
weigh on them. Like, this is your teammates. These are your sisters that you go to battle with. And to see one laying down on the turf just makes you feel helpless. It makes you want to go out there and take away their pain. And there's only so much you can do. And it's just heartbreaking to see, especially you come all this way. It's nationals. You're playing for your province. And it's really heartbreaking to see. Hopefully she will be okay. And thoughts and prayers go out to her. And also it looks like she is sitting up right now. And her parents, too. You got to think about her parents seeing her daughter. And it looks like she's up. And that's number 31 for Manitoba, Sophia Fagerstrom-Castro, who was an absolute defensive Deegan on the field for her with Saskatchewan. So this is going to be a huge loss for Team Manitoba. Yeah, very, very tough to see, but it did appear that she was able to relatively get up under most of her own power at that point. They are bringing her over to the sideline, so hopefully that's the best sign that we can see her at the moment. Yeah. If it was a major, major injury, she would be out of here. She would be getting carted out, but she's going back to Manitoba's bench. So maybe, hopefully, just a sprain. One of those. Actually looks. Nope. Yep, they're just pulling her around. That's good. That's good to see. Because even if you're injured, just being on the sideline with your teammate is huge. It's a good morale boost. Indeed. But DeChambeau trying to make that toss, ends up getting it to McKay. Comes down just short of the first down line. Good hands by McKay getting out there and catching. That was a little bit in front of her, too. Good route there, a little out route towards the sideline. Looks like it's going to be a yard short, and expect National Indigenous to go for this to pick up a first down. Yeah, you're in the zone right now where you're kind of playing three-down football, where you're trying to get some of these short yardage situations. Again, going back to on Sunday, we saw a couple of tush-push style plays that ultimately worked a ton for some of the teams that ultimately ended up running it. Yeah. But let's see what the team ends up drawing here. DeChambeau under center. Takes the ball, hands this one off. Going to be able to get right around the first down line. That is going to be a close call, but I do think we have ourselves a first down. Yeah, referee came out there, and that was close. That was up at the line. I thought she had a little bit more room, picked up the first down. Good job by number 21, just taking the contact and pushing forward, not falling backwards. And good job picking that first down. And Indigenous has something going on right now.
Deegan Stewart, the one on the run, able to sneak her way up there. But Sienna DeChambeau all alone in the backfield. She gets the ball, scans the field, ends up taking the toss, trying to get it to Helena McKay. Just a little bit over her head, a little bit of dysfunction at the junction on that timing.
Absolutely. A little bit of pressure in DeChambeau's face there, kind of rushed that throw a little bit, as we're going to see here. It was a great throw, back to pass, felt a little bit of pressure coming up the middle, and unfortunately just a little too high. Also threw it in double coverage, so maybe it was a good thing that it went high and not there, because there's 2 Manitoba players in the vicinity.
I always like to talk to offensive coordinators when they talk to the quarterback, saying, I'd rather you throw it over your receiver's head where no one else can get it, as opposed to being a 50-50 ball where anyone can come down with it.
If it's 50-50, you want that to be one-on-one, not 3 gold jerseys in the vicinity. So ultimately, good decision by DeChambeau, brings up second down.
DeChambeau hands this one off to McKay. She's trying to rush this one up the middle, and she's brought down after a short gain. Manitoba's defense doing a pretty bang-up job slowing the rush up the middle.
Absolutely. Good job by number 41, Haley Whitesell, kind of taking over for Fragerstone Castro in the middle of that defense. And said this before, once Manitoba kind of wraps you up, you're going to go down. They are a really solid tackling team. Good job also by number 8, Sophie Zielinski, getting in there. And it's third down, and we'll see what's in the bag. They have a long way to go for this first down.
Third and long. Sienna DeChambeau gets the snap, has to step up in the pocket. Some pressure coming her way, and that one's almost picked off by number 16, Bailey. Coming in is just able to deflect that one, so that's going to be a turnover on downs.
That's a tough play for DeChambeau. She's kind of keying in right now on McKay. That's kind of what their offense is going through. And once again, good pressure up the middle, off the edge by number 83, Daphne Amoraltsits from Winnipeg. And that's twice in that series where she got through that offensive line, caused a little disturbance, and made the quarterback rush her throw. Good job by 83 in gold.
Moving this one around, that one is directly snapped to Browinski, and she has all sorts of space. The 40, the 30, can anyone catch her? She's going to go all the way for a touchdown. Team Manitoba with their first points of the weekend.
Jocelyn Borensky, the fastest kid alive, down the sideline. And we saw this against Saskatchewan. When she uses her legs and gets to the outside, she is super effective, and she just outran the angle and her defenders. And first points of the tournament for Manitoba. That's got to feel good, especially with the injury trouble that they're suffering.
Yeah, that is a heart and soul style of run where the quarterback was just able to pick up the ball. The motion to the right side just kind of ultimately allowing everyone to get those blockers out there. And Browinski tiptoeing on the sidelines and just outruns everybody. So let's see if they can ultimately get the convert.
Reminder that a kick through is 2 points and a run in is 1, and that would be unsuccessful. So it is 6-0 for Manitoba in the first quarter.
And what a way to ultimately start that first offensive drive. Just immediately, first play. Your defense had to have a little bit of adversity on that last drive. Finished off strong, not allowing the opponents to get within field goal range. And then immediately to go out there, get that third down stop. Now, granted, it was a 3rd and 10, but still a major stop nonetheless. You go out there, first play, quarterback rush right on the outside. Touchdown, can't draw it up any better.
Absolutely. It's kind of that bend, don't break mentality on defense. You give up some yards, but you recognize when you need to make a big play, and Manitoba's defense definitely did that. Set up the offense, and it's got to feel good to get your first points of the tournament and to see if National Indigenous can come back here and their offense can continue some of the positive that they started last series.
A very awkward-looking pickup of the football on that particular play, as it was a little bit of a bouncer. But nonetheless, Team National Indigenous does come away with the ball. Team National Indigenous did not finish the drive how they wanted to on that last series. Chris, what do you think they need to do to ultimately get into the end zone here?
To be honest, they just need to start working the perimeter a little bit and also stop just keying in on McKay. Manitoba's starting to realize that's kind of where the offense is going for Team National Indigenous. You just need to start using a little bit more of your playmakers because everybody's keying in on McKay. There's got to be somebody else open to give him the ball.
Shambo has to jump up in the air and then eventually tosses that one to Helena McKay. She's able to pick this one up for no gain on the play. Actually, a loss of a yard and a little bit. So a little bit of a broken play that Manitoba takes to good effect here on the defense.
Absolutely, and you maybe throw in a little bit of trickery right now because Manitoba's just, once again, keying in on McKay. Where's number 2 on the field? Okay, she's getting the ball. Maybe DeChambeau, I understand she was dealing with coming off a knee injury. She's got to use her legs a little bit more just to alleviate the pressure.
All sorts of misdirection on that play. It was the 1-2, eventually handing that one to Helena McKay, who rushes this one up the middle. Able to gain a couple on that play, but we are still 3rd and long at this particular point, likely bringing out the punting team.
Absolutely, and once again, just Helena McKay tried to throw in a little bit of misdirection, but instead of handing it off to 2, why don't you go with the one that's doing a little bit of an end around? You just throw a little bit of a curveball to this Manitoba defense, because right now they're licking their chops.
Yeah, one thing that we saw Team Saskatchewan do so well in that game was just use that quarterback rush on the perimeter and got them a lot of points in that game. But this is a booming punt, getting this one all the way to Haywood, picking that one up at the 40, has to make one move, tries to make another, and just forcing everyone off, ends up getting to the 52-yard line. It appears we might have a Manitoba player a little bit banged up after the play.
Good job by number 16 in red. Once again, Raven Trowner-Grill just grabbed on, didn't let her woman get to the sideline, and held on and got some help coming down the sideline. So good job negating that. Could have went for a lot longer.
So coming back out, Treleving back at the quarterback spot. Manitoba using both of their QBs to effect. Treleving looking to make the deep pass, tries to get it to Gates a little bit behind her, and that one deflected. Eden Gates initially looked like she was going to be able to break deep. Treleving just not able to quite get it to her.
Absolutely, but good pursuit to the ball by number 1, Chanel McClure, going out there, and good job not taking a pass interference. As we see in today's game a little bit, if you're a defender and don't look back to the ball, you usually get a PI. So good job turning around, getting a handout, knocking that down. 2nd down, Manitoba.
All right, let's see what Manitoba does here. Motions out right. Ball gets snapped. Looking deep, trying to get it to their big tight end, Kursky, who had an amazing game back on Sunday and able to get the long 1st down. Such a great situation to have. Get it to your tight end and just allow them to bull everyone over.
This is what kind of worked for Manitoba against Saskatchewan, was getting 64 involved with the offense. This is our first catch of the game today, and it goes for 10. And good job just kind of disguising her. She was blocking off the line, and then she just comes off to the flat. Good throw and catch. 1st down, Manitoba.
Ball is snapped. Trying to go right up the middle. Eden Gates a little bit discombobulated. Maybe thought there was a different play, but makes something out of nothing. Able to gain at least half the yards, probably about gain a 6 on that one. That was a
little awkward.
A funky-looking play right there.
Absolutely, a little awkward. You can tell Eden Gates didn't know if she was going to get the handoff. It was play action. But once again, she made something out of nothing. That easily could have been a 4 or 5 yard loss. And she turned the corner, did a little bit of a stiff arm, as we had a National Indigenous player go off a little slowly. So there's a little bit of a timeout there. But good job by Eden Gates. Once again, just using her speed and strength, and brings up a 2nd and manageable instead of a 2nd and long.
11 gets the ball, tosses that one forward to Omar. Omar coming so close to that 1st down marker. Going to be about a yard, maybe 2 short.
Good job by McClure, just once again, just hanging on. And one thing I'm noticing with Team National Indigenous, too, they're a good tackling team, too. Not a whole lot of missed tackles so far in this game. It's a 3rd and short now, and it looks like Manitoba is going to keep their offense on the field and go for it.
When you're at this stage of the game, only being about 2 yards away from it. Might as well go for it. Handoff right up the middle. Eden Gates finds a little bit of a hole, but has to get that little bit extra with the stiff arm, able to get the first down and more.
That is just a couple of times in this game where Eden Gates displayed that stiff arm, just the strength from 20 in gold, just absolutely pushing her defender to the turf and willing herself to get that first down. And Manitoba has a little bit of a drive cooking now.
And one thing that I really liked on that play is Gates was very, very patient. Again, not having to try to disguise too many different holes, but didn't try to immediately go as fast as she possibly could. Was patient, found the hole, ended up getting that first down.
That's what makes a good running back, is patience, absolutely.
Loving, all alone in the backfield. Looking for the quick pass, tries to get that one to Haywood, and she does. Haywood having to make a few moves, able to gain about 5 on the play.
Good job by Haywood getting her mitts on that. It was a little bit high in the outside, and she got her mitts on it, brought it down, and brings up second and manageable.
Nice looking drive here from Manitoba as you start this one. Again, Haywood having to really jump up and pick that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, good tackle by 16 in red. She's probably 3 or 4 times when she grabs a hold, she brings you down. Good job by Trevor Gill.
Trevelyan able to get this one, fumbles the ball right off of the snap. Maybe took her eyes off of it for just a moment, and that's going to be a massive loss of yards, going pretty much right back to the original line of scrimmage.
That's exactly what happened. She kind of was reading the defense a little bit there and took her eyes off of the ball, as we could see here on the replay. Grabs the ball, sees that she had pressure off the edge, and brings this to a 3rd and long now, and we'll see what's in Manitoba's playbook to try to pick up this first down and extend this drive.
Trevelyan gets the ball, almost runs into her own teammate, has to rush up the middle, but that one's going to be stopped, but we do have some laundry down on the field.
I believe it's going to be offside on number 2 in red. Tried jumping the snap count a little bit, just a little too overzealous, so we will see what the referees will call here.
While we wait, the U18 Nationals would like to thank Tourism Calgary for all their support in this year's tournament, including a special surprise following the championship game.
What do you think the surprise is?
You know, I have not been told what the surprise is at this moment, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, they've been hyping up this surprise, and I'm super interested.
It's a shame that they don't tell the broadcasters so that we can go like, oh, yeah, it's going to be certainly something, that's for sure. But I'm going to redo 3rd down. This time it's going to be 3rd and 5 on the play.
Absolutely. National Indigenous did come up with the stop on that play, but now with the offside, a little bit more manageable to keep the offense on the field.
Toss play to Omar. She finds a little bit of space, getting towards that first down mark, and she's able to get it in some more. We are at the 15-yard line, and Team Manitoba has been so impressive on this drive. Now, granted, they were helped out by a penalty.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's another flag on the play here. Didn't exactly see what happened, so we'll see what the referees call.
Might as well make another ad read at this point. We'd like to take this time to acknowledge the government of Alberta for their generous financial contribution for the U18 National Tournament and their continued support to minor football in Alberta.
Legal block on the play, so that's going to send Manitoba back even further. So they gained some yards due to a penalty, and they lost a whole bunch of yards due to a penalty. So now this becomes a 3rd and 10, and we'll see what's in the playbook here. Probably a outside run. I expect either 64 or 20 in gold to get the ball here.
If this was me and Madden right now, you know I'd be calling the 4 verts, but unfortunately I don't think there's too many plays you can draw up here for 6-on-6. Trevelyan alone in the backfield. She gets the ball. She rolls right, trying to make that toss, able to get it to her tight end Tursky. got immediately brought down, maybe for a short game, but that's going to be a turnover on down. So on this drive for Manitoba, looked so good, just moving the ball, but then ultimately penalties was the biggest thing that hurt them.
Penalties kind of kill you. It kills you in anything where you go from 3rd and 5, which is manageable. You pick up the first down, but an illegal block, unfortunately, sends you backwards. And there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do, and that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter.
We'd like to thank the Make a Diff Sport Foundation for their support in growing women's sport at the grassroots levels, innovating and developing programs across the province since 2013. So like you said, we are now going into the second quarter of play, currently where Manitoba is up by a score of 6-0 after that long Borwinski run.
Yep. Tight game. Very tight game. Good job with Team National Indigenous' defense. Bend, don't break. Same thing as Manitoba, but we need to see a little bit more on offense out of Red here instead of just giving the ball to number 2.
DeChambeau makes one notion and tries to get it to Cardinal, but that just goes in and out of the hands. Going back to what you're saying right there, again, we have seen Team National Indigenous play a really solid defensive game so far, and they've had some moments on offense where they look like they can move the ball, particularly on that second drive, but a lot of it has been kind of pretty much just one player at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. But good job by DeChambeau there. Kind of looking off McKay. Brought the defense over because the defense is like, well, she's just getting the ball. And it was a decent throw. Unfortunately, Cardinal just couldn't come up. But more of that on offense for Team National Indigenous. And then they're going to be successful in this game.
DeChambeau, the running back beside her, looks back, ends up finding Helena McKay. McKay gets swallowed behind the line. Team Manitoba read that beautifully.
Absolutely. Good job by Manitoba recognizing it. Once again, 95 just absolutely flew over there. Ayana Labongo, and she absolutely put the boom on McKay there. And good job by Gold defensively. And we saw this against Saskatchewan. They're a solid defensive team. Really, really solid. Saskatchewan kind of had two possessions right off the gate where they scored, but Saskatchewan didn't score until the fourth quarter pretty much. And Manitoba locked it down. And they're fast to the ball. They pursued. And good job by Gold. And they're going to get the ball back probably in some pretty good field position.
Yeah, right now, taking a look at where Haywood is, she's standing right around that 47, actually approaching the 45-yard line. If that punt goes all the way, that is a booming level punt, but a lot of open space. So Team Manitoba going to be in some good field position, but let's see. Punter able to get this one, has to make a move, and ends up going to run the ball. I'm not sure if this is designed, but going right there, able to get the first down. What a run from Justice Behrens.
Unbelievable by Behrens. She kind of saw that she had a whole bunch of open space on that right side as the defender off the edge kind of overcommitted a little bit, and she used that speed. I didn't think she was going to get there at first, but that is a huge play and a confidence booster, and we'll see if Team National Indigenous now can keep this ball rolling.
Justice Behrens, again, initially looked like she was going to punt the ball, but elected to drop it down in the pocket and just rush this one. And again, sometimes when the offense gets a little bit stalled out on a certain play, you got to try something. And I'm not sure if that was a designed call. No. I think that might have been ultimately called due to some of the pressure that was coming, and it was a game-time decision, as we like to say.
Just a smart play from 22. Probably if she kicked that, it would have either hit her own defender in the back or would have hit the Manitoba player that was coming off the side, and it looked like this is going to be a timeout as National Indigenous took a little bit too much time getting some personnel onto the field, so they will take their first timeout of the half.
Yeah, one of those situations that you never love to have, calling a timeout. We would like to give a huge shout-out to Hellberg and Burke and NFL Canada for their support in providing special gifts for all of our tournament award winners.
Thank you very much for sponsoring. That's awesome.
Yes, indeed. But, again, having a big, exciting play on special teams, and we're going to assume that it's not necessarily that's the way they draw that one up. But you really don't want to have a timeout called after that particular play just because some of those instances, it can kind of kill a little bit of that momentum that you ultimately start to build up.
Yeah, it just slows the game down a little bit, and it's unfortunate. You're kind of fired up. You got Manitoba back on your heels. Now with this timeout, you allow Manitoba to kind of compose themselves, get their breath, because defense was just out on the field. They might be a little tired, but now you give them a break, and just makes the job just that much tougher for the offensive team National Indigenous.
Yeah, this is one of those drives now where if you're Team National Indigenous, you got to get some momentum. Again, it's still a very close game, only being one score here at the moment. Team National Indigenous, they could have simply just one play right here and end up taking the lead, but you don't want to kill momentum when you ultimately build it. Well, let's see the play that's going to be drawn up.
Exactly, and McKay is off on the sideline, so I'm interested to see who's getting the ball here, and maybe it'll be a start of some positive yards from on offense from Team National Indigenous.
Shambo, motions right. Able to find Cardinal, but that one's just in and out of the mitts.
That was a tough play there, trying to find
Faith DeChambeau, trying to get it to her sister.
Trying to get it to her sister there, a little sister-sister connection. And unfortunately, it might have been a little too hot. It was a good throw. She just dropped it. That's unfortunate. That was a good-looking play there for Team National Indigenous. More of that.
Trying to move the ball and spread it around and try to use everyone on offense. I always talk to the best offensive coordinators in the game. It's try to get it to everyone as often as possible. That one just goes right up the middle. A nice little juke move. This one continues for Chloe McKay. Ends up moving that one up.
Good job by the offensive line coming out there and pushing the pile forward instead of backwards, gaining another couple yards. And we'll see what Team National Indigenous would do. It looks like they're bringing out the punt unit. Maybe another fakes in the cards?
Very well, but third and manageable around center field at this point. So I wouldn't put it past a team for trying to potentially have a similar looking look on this punt. But if they also try to punt this one away,
that's
not as deep in their own territory, so it makes it a little bit easier. So let's see what happens. This one goes up, punt goes away, and it goes towards Haywood as she allows that one just to roll a little bit. Going to pick this one up at the 25-yard line. Tries to find some space, tries to make one move, ends up just getting hog-tied down.
Chloe McKay. That, if you want to watch textbook special teams coverage there, watch this replay by Chloe McKay. It's just playing your angles. Kind of remind me of a little Christian Slater from the New England Patriots, a special teams demon. And you're going to see her come up here 4 in red, and she just stayed in her lane, recognized that there she is in her lane, and then she just attacks. Absolutely fantastic play by 4 in red.
Yeah, absolutely textbook wrap up there, not allowing anything to get by her.
A little German suplex too for all you wrestling fans out there.
Lewinsky ends up having that one go up and over. She's going to have to make all sorts of stuff happen. Tries to make one stiff move, and she is taken down far behind the line of scrimmage. Again, that play was broken from the start.
Exactly. Just once again, a fumble on the play from the quarterback of Manitoba. And we've seen this no matter what quarterback is in there. And this is a very, very long second down situation for Manitoba here. Good ball pursuit by Team National Indigenous.
Bringing in Borwinski again, I would have to imagine that you could potentially see another quarterback run on the outside.
Absolutely.
And she ends up picking this one off. A little bit of a discombobulated handoff there. All sorts of pressure. And Team National Indigenous swallowing that play up after a couple of bad exchanges.
And they are fired up right now. Team National Indigenous' defense is doing the job, keeping their offense in this game, keeping this a one-score game. And every time the defense comes up, it's just more momentum being built for the team in red right now. And we'll see if the offense can harness some of this momentum and put a score on the board.
And both defenses have really shined in this one. If you're a fan of defensive football, you were definitely getting to see a display here in this contest. And for Team National Indigenous, moving their opponents back, making this one a 3rd and forever. Well, let's see the punt. Obviously, that's pretty much going to be the biggest thing. Or maybe they try to do a little fakeroo themselves. Punt goes back. up into the air. A little bit more of a skyline kick. As this one's in and out of the midst, and rightfully so, Faith DeChambeau just jumps right on top of that one.
A little bit of a line drive kind of caught DeChambeau by surprise there. Luckily, she jumped on it, and this is the best field position of the day for Team National Indigenous. So good job by the team in red, Team National Indigenous, and we'll see what they can do with it.
This is going to be, without a doubt, a key-looking drive as DeChambeau is in the backfield with Helena McKay to her right. DeChambeau gets it. She's motioning right, ends up looking for Helena McKay in and out of the midst.
Oh, she just looked for a second to see where she was. That would have been a perfect second and manageable coming up, and now it's second and long.
Yeah, those plays where you just end up taking your eye off the ball for a moment. And again, we've talked about it a bunch. Helena McKay has really been the focus of this offense. But DeChambeau, a little bit of a high snap, having to motion around, trying to get this one, ends up finding Cardinal for a nice gain.
Well, it's going to be close. She kind of caught that up around the sticks. Looks like it's going to be a couple yards short. But good throw and catch by DeChambeau as they run up to the line. A little bit of tempo offense going on.
Yeah, something just can keep the offense on the field. DeChambeau motions McKay. She's all alone. She moves right, steps up in the pocket, and just sails that one over Cardinal. Arabella Cardinal making that really excellent grab on second down, but DeChambeau just sails that one over her head this time.
Got a little bit too excited on that one, a little bit too much arm behind it, and unfortunately that will go for incomplete. And once again, Manitoba's defense kind of holds strong here, but the defense of Team National Indigenous is kind of on a roll right now, kind of has Manitoba's number, so we'll see what can materialize going forward.
Continuing to try to move the ball as best as you possibly can. Well, let's see. And Team Manitoba often having switch at quarterback, a little bit of a fumble on the exchange right there, but looking deep and going through traffic. That was a 1-on-3, but just in and out of the hands of Randy Haywood.
Oh, and the passes in the middle are always the scariest as a receiver because you know that there's defenders in the area, and Haywood definitely felt the pressure coming across. Tried to get an arm on it as she had all day number 2, Treliving, and unfortunately that falls incomplete.
Just not quite able to connect on this one. As she looks to get this one again, hands this one off, and this one is fumbled on the exchange. The amount of times that we've had to say that so far in this game, Chris, it is becoming a little bit of a problem where the quarterback and the center are not quite on the same page.
You would think that it's raining today, and the weather is not picture perfect as it is right now, as Haywood is now on the ground after jumping on that fumble. And actually, it's probably a good thing that she jumped on that fumble, and that actually went for some positive yards, because I think if she took that right off the bat, she would have been tackled for a loss. So she is up, which is good to see, and she's going to go back off to the Manitoba sideline, which is now they're becoming more and more decimated by injuries here, and that's somebody that they definitely cannot lose, their star wide receiver.
It is a tough one to say the least, but we'd like to thank Lion Fletcher Weddings and Oculus Private Wealth for their financial support and event management, making this year's tournament shine like never before.
Very nice. So it is now second down, I believe. Yeah, 2nd and 10. Actually, it should be about 2nd and 2 or 5. I thought they gained a little bit more yards, but that's why I'm up here and not on the ground.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I thought after the fumble, maybe it only got to the line of scrimmage.
No,
I thought it was a little bit deeper than that, but nonetheless.
Brings up 3rd down.
And the classic punt situation, just try to send this one down. It's going to be collected by DeChambeau. Tries to make a couple of moves. Pardon me, that's Justice Barons moving this one along, going sideline to sideline. Not able to gain too much space, and ultimately just runs this one out at the 46-yard line.
46-yard line. Yeah, she ran about 50 yards to gain 1 yard when she was trying to get the corner. Good job by 83 from Manitoba, just in pursuit, just pushing her towards the sideline. Daphne Amoritz, and Team National Indigenous will take over the ball on their side of the field here in the second quarter.
Hey, nothing like a little cardio workout in the middle of the game.
I would need an oxygen mask if I was down there right now.
You and me both, buddy. You and me both. Just walking up the stairs, getting up here today, we both needed oxygen masks.
Jeez.
DeChambeau under center. Motions everyone. Hands this one off. Moving this one around. Shakes off the first rusher and going to be collected. Eden Gates with another nice-looking run.
Absolutely, good job. Hey, positively, now it's 2nd and 5, and you did a little bit of an end around there. Number 20, Hayden Couturier, and I apologize if I got that wrong, but good, positive yards by Team National Indigenous.
Oh, you were right. I was reading off the wrong roster there, but it does appear that we do have a Manitoba player down. Alana Bailey shaken up a little bit after that one.
The coaches are going to have to strap up to come out here and play. Manitoba is just absolutely dealing with the injury bug a little bit here, and it's unfortunate to see. Hopefully she'll be okay and stay in the game.
Well, we do have a little bit of a hotter day, and again, down there on the turf, they do actually say that turf fields like this, when you're out there, they do raise the degrees because they do make it a lot hotter. And I know when I was down there talking with coaching staff beforehand, I was sweating all sorts of, and you just got to wonder if maybe a little bit of dehydration out there, just again, with it being so rainy and kind of cold these last couple of days for all these teams being here, you got to kind of wonder if it's maybe going like, oh, hey, we weren't necessarily prepared for it, and just add a little bit of Gatorade, and hopefully it's just a cramp.
Hopefully it's just a cramp. There's not a lot of wind going on down there. The flags are pretty still, so it is very hot down there.
DeChambeau all alone in the backfield. 2nd and 5. Steps up in the pocket, tries to make that pass, and just in and out of the hands of Arabella Cardinal.
That was a absolute rifle from DeChambeau. Went right through her receiver's hand, almost was intercepted by 95 Aniana Labongo, who was in the vicinity. You're going to see on this offense, good job in the pocket, stepping up, absolute rifle, and it actually hit Labongo's hand. And that's actually twice now, actually 3 times, that the receivers for Team National Indigenous has dropped a really good pass, and now they'll have to punt.
Not necessarily quite on first down marker at that play, but that makes that one 3rd and manageable as a third, as opposed to going to 3rd and having to punt, as that one not necessarily perfect, but is able to get up in the air and go down. So Team Manitoba is going to have to jump on that one. Eden Gates with it. Tries to direct some traffic in front of her, makes one move, finds a little bit of a crease. She ends up fumbling the ball, and it's going to be picked up by Manitoba. A lucky break for Manitoba right on that one.
Absolutely, and sometimes you got to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky, as that ball was absolutely punched out of Eden Gates' hands. Luckily, 83, Daphne Amoritz was in the vicinity, jumps on it, and actually improves the field position a little bit better for Manitoba. And it's kind of slowed down a little bit, both the offenses here, but we'll see if Manitoba has something a little bit special, as 94 Jocelyn Borensky is back in at quarterback.
Motion to the left. She ends up following her team. Last time this sort of play happened, she ended up taking it long, only able to get it to the 54-yard line, but able to bring it into National Indigenous territory.
Justice Burns has been an absolute special teams and defensive demon, and she was just in the area, good pursuit for the ball, using that speed and just pushing her out of bounds. Even if she didn't make the tackle, I doubt that she would have got the first down there. So, but it is 2nd and manageable now for Manitoba.
Yeah, when both offensive have been kind of stalling, sometimes you got to go back to the well, what has been working for your team. And Browinski, again, we know that she is a mobile style quarterback, but motioning everyone around, she's all alone in the backfield looking to make that pass. Try to get it to Eden Gates. Gates ends up catching it and able to bring it to the 49-yard line.
Circus catch by Eden Gates, defender in her face, and she makes the catch. I thought for sure that was going to get knocked down by the defender there, but I believe that is going to be tackled a little bit short, but it looks like Manitoba is going to keep their offense on the field.
Browinski still back out there. Gates to her right. Can't see the number to her left. Nonetheless, ball snapped. Hands off to Gates. Gates very patient, almost goes backwards, still has to try to find a little bit of space. And what a job from Team National Indigenous stopping that play dead in its tracks.
Sometimes the patience kind of hurts you a little bit as you're sitting there trying to look for a hole to open up, and that's what happened to Eden Gates, just trying to wait and wait and wait, but time ran out. And once again, a really good tackle by 16 for Team National Indigenous, Raven Tremere Gill, and she snuffs out that drive. And now, once again, Team National Indigenous is going to take over in some pretty decent field positions.
Often talk about very patient level running backs. We always go to Le'Veon Bell as the cornerstone of that, where he was just basically, I'm just going to stand here, wait for a hole to open up and go. But then again, you talk about those Pittsburgh offenses back in those days, that offensive line opened up holes all day long. But unfortunately for Eden Gates on that last play, nothing materialized. But let's see what Team National Indigenous ultimately can get away with here as DeChambeau under center. And hands this, or fakes the handoff and tries to get it to Cardinal, and in and out of her hands. If Cardinal was able to come down with that one, she had nothing but green grass and still might be running.
Great play design by Team National Indigenous there. Good job by the offensive coordinator calling that one up. They used the end around previous series, so they faked that, kind of drew Manitoba to the right side and had Cardinal wide open, and once again just dropping the ball, and the receivers for Team National Indigenous is kind of letting DeChambeau down a little bit. She's played great today.
DeChambeau under center again, actually does end up getting the handoff off this time, but no yardage whatsoever. Team Manitoba's defensive line comes up stout on that play.
Absolutely. 64 Addison Turtsky was in the area playing both sides of the ball, and she just said, snuffed that out, just moved around the block, and number 55 for Team National Indigenous threw her to the side and said, not in my house, and took her down to the turf.
Let's see what Team National Indigenous wants to draw up on this particular play. The offense still out there, 3rd and 11 here at the moment. So we have seen some funky things in this game. We've seen some funky things in this tournament where you and I coined it back in our game on Sunday, the run-punt option.
Yes, absolutely. Saskatchewan used that effectively against Manitoba. And once again, Manitoba has allowed a punt, the kicker, to run for a first down. So special teams not really Manitoba's strong suit here. So we'll see what Team National Indigenous has cooked up, if they're going to kick the ball, or is Justin Sparrons going to use her legs and pick up another first down.
Barons with it, delays the kick, goes right into the hands of Haywood. Haywood finds a little bit of space. Pardon me, that's Omar. Omar makes one cut, tries to make another, and a great-looking return for Team Manitoba.
There we go. A little bit of positivity on special teams. Good job by Eza Omar catching that on the run. You don't see that a whole heck of a lot in this tournament. Usually they allow it to bounce and pick up, but that allowed her to catch it on the run, gain some speed, using her blocking. Good job, special teams by Manitoba. And now Manitoba is in very good field position here with the last 2 minutes left before the half.
2:20 still remaining in the second quarter. This game's actually flown by. But let's see here.
No better place I'd rather be on a Wednesday.
Exactly. Owinski tries to find her receiver, Tursky, able to get that one, but only for a couple of yards.
Good job by Barons there. Kind of got bounced off of Tursky a little bit, stuck with it. That could have been easily a first down catch, but good tackle at the legs there. Good pass by 94 too. We don't see a whole heck of a lot of passing come from this Manitoba team, and we'll see if they're going to use 64 in gold going forward.
Kowinski motions her receivers right. She ends up taking the crease. We have a late penalty on the flag, but a nice-looking play that might be coming back.
I believe it's going to be holding against 64 Addison Turtsky. Good job on the catch, but unfortunately just wrapped her arm around the defensive end for Team National Indigenous and didn't allow her to set the edge, and I believe this will be coming back.
Yeah, one of those plays that we've seen work for Manitoba a handful of times in this game with Borwinski out there. Just motion your blockers in front of you, find that little bit of space, but Tursky, after making that great catch, gets called on the holding.
Yes, absolutely. And it's unfortunate because that was a good-looking run once again, but now it is second and very long, as we're going to see on the defense. Tursky just grabbed the arm a little too much. Kind of a tough play for 64, but
Browinski tosses this one to Omar. Omar has a little bit of space. She has some speed trying to get that one to the 50. She does, but unfortunately that's only going to be a yard past the original line of scrimmage, so it's going to be 3rd and 9 coming up here.
Good job by Team National Indigenous, just forcing her to out of bounds, not overcommitting, just basically taking what the blockers give you and just kind of moving the blockers to your will to force them out of bounds. Good job by Team National Indigenous, but it looks like Manitoba is going to go for it.
At this point in the game where it's 6-0, a minute 40 and a little bit less now at this point,
and your defense is playing so good too.
Browinski looks to toss this one, and that one's picked off. So Team National Indigenous, Justice Behrens, continues her excellent game so far, this time with an INT.
Oh, and that's a tough play for 94, Jocelyn Borensky. As you're going to see on this replay, she kind of fumbled the snap a little bit, and due to that fumble, she had pressure in her face. She needed to get rid of it, and Johnny on the spot, Justin Behrens, she's my defensive star so far in this game. She's been all around the ball, and let's see if Team National Indigenous can translate this to offense now.
Almost what we like to call an arm punt in some of these scenarios.
Yes. Yep.
Not as far as you would want the arm punt to be, but nonetheless. This one's moved around, a nice end around going the opposite way, but Team Manitoba's defense still comes up clutch, only about a gain of 1.
Sophie Zelensky just snuffed that out of Sturgeon Height Huskies in Winnipeg. Once again, great job wrapping up, and if number 20 on Team National Indigenous would have just got around number 8, she might have had something going a little bit more, but good job by Team Manitoba. Sure, just a great tackling team. I've said it a lot, and I'll say it again. They've been fantastic on the defensive side of the ball.
DeChambeau initially fakes the toss to Cardinal and just cannot quite connect with Helena McKay on that one, and you can see some very clear frustration on the face of Sienna DeChambeau, because she knew if she found McKay on that one, could have been much of a bigger gain. Yeah, exactly, and good job protection-wise for Team National Indigenous. Gave DeChambeau all day, but she's got to be careful with that kind of cross pass. If she throws it behind McKay, and I thought she did, that's considered a fumble. And Team Manitoba could have went and picked it up. You actually heard the coaches from the sideline from Team National Indigenous screaming, "Go get the ball!" Jump on top of it.
Exactly, but luckily the referees blew it dead and called it incomplete.
Team National Indigenous brings on the punt unit. A little bit of a bobble snap. This one's going to go right up the middle. And Justice Behrens, again, not necessarily a designed run on that one. He's going to bring this pretty much right smack dab into the middle of the field on the 54-yard line. So Team Manitoba, again, after that second drive of the game, Team Manitoba has had a couple of decent series, but hasn't found a way to get into scoring territory. What do you think needs to change?
It's tough. It's really tough. I think they need to start using what worked for them and using the outside, running the ball, especially with 94 on their touchdown, ran to the outside, and we'll see what happens here.
11. Moving this one forward, ends up just running this one. Not necessarily the running quarterback out of the duo for Team Manitoba, but she's able to get this one right over to the 49 or the 51-yard line. And unfortunately for her, she appears to be down on the field after taking that rough shot. And again, we've said it countless times today. I just don't know. Team Manitoba has faced so many injuries today.
Yeah, it's really tough. My heart goes out to these girls. They're playing hard, and unfortunately the injury bug is kind of over top of their team right now. There's not a whole heck of a lot you can do. It's just part of the game, and once again, I just think offensively for Team Manitoba, that run worked for him. Just use the running game. You got Eden Gates back there with her speed. You've seen her use her stiff arm, plenty of times to get around the tackles of opponents. And I think they're just relying on the passing game a little too much for Team Manitoba. Get back to simple football, running, using the edges, using your speed, and I think they'll be a little bit more successful on offense.
Berwinski goes in at QB. Motions this one left. She's going to follow her blockers. This has been one of the things that has worked for Team Manitoba a handful of times, but Team National Indigenous defense stuffs that one out. They're getting used to that play now.
Yeah, exactly, and good pursuit to the ball. And the thing is, Manitoba has all the momentum. Sorry, not Manitoba. Team National Indigenous on defense, the defensive side of the ball, they have all the momentum. They are literally in the heads of Team Manitoba right now with every play. They're getting great pressure off the line, and their pursuit to the ball after the ball carrier for Manitoba has been fantastic. And now it's 3rd and 5, and we'll see if Manitoba can kind of break this streak of two and outs, or can National Indigenous keep on their dominance on defense.
3rd and 6, Browinski all alone. She's looking to pass, tries to make that one, and that one's almost going to be picked off by Justice Behrens yet again. A couple of ill-advised throws. That's going to be turnover on downs. So Team National Indigenous makes their way back out there on offense.
Absolutely.
You talk about that pendulum, or you talk about Team National Indigenous defense being so stout and being in the minds of Team Manitoba's offense. It's kind of been the same thing for both defenses.
Exactly.
This has been a defensive battle here today where both defenses have been cool, calm, and collected, and everything the opponents have run at them, they've been able to stop.
Exactly.
DeChambeau has it. Tries to look deep. Tries to find Cardinal. Cardinal snakes that one out of the air and comes down with it.
Cardinal took off the gloves, caught it. You got to hustle up, though. There's only 3 seconds left in the quarter. We'll see what National Indigenous has. Maybe a little hook and ladder or some lateral plays. But whatever happens here, just build some confidence going into half. Hey, guys, this is what worked. Let's keep going in the second half. So let's see what they got going here.
Team National Indigenous. DeChambeau. Helen McKay goes out on motion. DeChambeau able to pick this one up. She's going to have to look deep. Tries to find it to Cardinal, and Cardinal was open, but that one just a little bit ahead of her. And that's going to bring us to halftime, folks, where Team Manitoba is currently up by a score of 6-0 against Team National Indigenous. Brendan and Chris in the broadcast booth. Chris, what are some of the big highlights that you've seen from this game so far?
Well, defensively, both sides of the ball, they've been absolutely fantastic. Team National Indigenous, even after surrendering that long run, they have given Manitoba absolutely nothing. Admittedly, Manitoba's dealing with a little bit of an injury bug right now. But once again, Manitoba, too, good pursuit to the ball, tackle, wrap-up, and this is a defensive battle. Let's see if the offenses can kind of wake up here in the second half.
This is going to be a very, very fun matchup, so stick with us here. You're watching the 2025 National Women's U18 Football. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. And welcome back, everybody, as we get set for the second half between Team Manitoba and Team National Indigenous. Brendan and Chris in the broadcast booth with you here for this one. 6-0 for Team Manitoba as we finish up the coin toss situations. So, Chris, obviously, low-scoring game.
Yes.
Defensive affair so far in this
Yes,
one.
absolutely. Great job by both defenses, just playing with utmost confidence right now. And offensively, you got to steal a little bit of that confidence going from the defensive side of the ball. Manitoba will get the ball first. And we've talked about this during the half where Manitoba just needs to start doing what was successful with them, putting the ball in the hands of their playmakers, of Eden Gates, of Addison Turitsky, and just going and just doing what was successful second drive of the game and also against Saskatchewan last game as well.
Yeah, again, going into this one for this second half, again, one play can ultimately change this one on a moment's whim. And so, again, we look at Team Manitoba. Again, you and I were kind of talking like what we do in these sort of situations. Again, you brought up Eden Gates. That's a player that whenever she's been around the ball has made a lot of stuff happen. For Team National Indigenous, it kind of feels like it's been just a two-man race with that one where it's Helena McKay and it has been Arabella Cardinal. Maybe you got to try to find a little bit of a switch up here at the moment. Yeah,
exactly. And unfortunately, Manitoba's just so quick on defense. It kind of disrupts your offensive flow a little bit, especially with Team National Indigenous. So I would like to see DeChambeau start to use her legs a little bit more. She is a little bit more of an active quarterback. You see her with her half rolls that she does when she goes out to pass. Offensively, offensive line has been great for Team National Indigenous, but you got to start running the ball. You got to start moving around, getting some pieces, and not just relying on those two players like you said.
Well, we are all ready for this second half of football. Again, Team Manitoba currently up by a score of 6-0. And if you're just joining us, Team Manitoba in the gold and black, while Team National Indigenous rocking the red. So, Team Manitoba going to be getting the football. And a little bit of a squib kick to start here, but that is not going to go the full 10, and that also goes out of bounds. So a little bit of trickery to start this one.
Absolutely. Just trying to catch Manitoba sleeping a little bit. Unfortunately, Justin Berenz's kickoff will go out of bounds before it reached 10 yards as well. So we'll see if Team Manitoba will make them re-kick it, or, and it looks like they are going to allow them to re-kick. I'm not really quite sure. We'll see what the refs call here.
I think the offense is officially coming out. But once again, we'd like to thank our amazing sponsors, Tourism Calgary and the Government of Alberta, for their support in this year's U18 Women's Championship. So we are going to go with the offense here, and it does look like Trevelyan is going to be back out there on the field.
Good to see her back. Manitoba's dealing with a lot of injuries, so it's good to see her back in this game.
She gets the ball, hands this one off. A nice looking run, and ultimately snuffed out. Eden Gates came in with some speed and some power, but a leg tackle ultimately takes her down.
And guess who? 22 in red, Justin Behrens. Once again, just a defensive stalwart, has a interception in this game, some booming punts and kicks, also converted a third down as well. She has been all that and more for Team National Indigenous.
11. All alone. She looks to pass, sends this one deep, tries to get it to Eden Gates. Just not quite able to find the distance on that one. Again, Eden Gates, we talked about her just coming out of the break, is such a weapon.
Yep.
Just unfortunately, the pass couldn't get to her.
Yeah, exactly. Just unfortunately bounced a little bit in front of her. It would have been a good gain, too. She had a little bit of room out there. And unfortunately, not the way you want to start if you're Team Manitoba going 2 and out, especially with such great field position after that kickoff out of bounds.
So the punt team makes their way out there onto the field. And let's see how Team Indigenous fares. So this one goes up.
Great kick.
Boom and kick that's ultimately going to roll its way out of bounds, probably close to right around the 12-yard line. Talk about a great kick and really pinning your opponent's offense that has had their struggles throughout this game deep into their own territory.
Absolutely. Kira Bowley out of who plays for the North Winnipeg Nomads and out of St. Malo in Manitoba with an absolute boomer. Kind of found the coffin corner a little bit down deep inside of Team National Indigenous, and this is not where you want to start, especially when you've had the struggles on offense like Team National Indigenous has. Let's see what they've drew up in the half in the locker room.
DeChambeau all alone in the backfield. A toss going to Helena McKay, and that is immediately stuffed right up the middle. In this Manitoba defense, their defensive line is able to penetrate the offensive line and really just stop anything right around that box area.
Yeah, a new linebacker taken over from Sophia Fagram Castro, who was injured earlier in this game, still hasn't come back. Haley Whitesell out of the Falcons Football Club from Fort Alexander in Manitoba. Great job recognizing the little bit of a pitch, jumped up in that hole and took him down, and now it is second and very long.
DeChambeau steps up in the pocket, tries to look deep, gets it to Cardinal, and that is very close to a first down. What a play.
There we go. Nice little strong arm. We've seen how strong DeChambeau is on her throwing, and it looks like it is a first down for Team National Indigenous. Didn't say a whole heck of a lot of that in the first half, so obviously we're going to let the arm of DeChambeau do the work here in the second half.
And you know what? For Cardinal, that's got to be a nice confidence builder because, again, she had a handful of drops in the first quarter. Getting that one is really, really nice. But this is Helena McKay making a couple of nice moves, getting that one almost to about a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, second and manageable. We haven't said her name a whole heck of a lot here as she's a little slow. Looks like she's clutching her back, but looks like she's going to stay in this game. And to start off the game, it was all Helena McKay, but now it's kind of got away from it. She is an offensive weapon in there, and let's see if she becomes more involved in the second half.
Again, also starting this drive out right, moving the ball a little bit, but let's see what DeChambeau is going to dial up here. Fakes the toss, ends up looking for the throw, ends up getting it to Helena McKay off of the redirect, and then running back screen, not able to gain much on the play, if any at all. Helena McKay a little bit slow getting up on that one.
What a hit by 41 in gold. Haley Whitesell, you're going to see on this replay, just comes across and lays the boom on Helena McKay. Good job by the Manitoba defense, and unfortunately a promising drive. At least you got that out of the shadow of your goalpost. Gives Justice Barons a little bit more room to kick this ball, but once again Manitoba should have good field position on offense.
And you know what? We've also seen from Justice Barons also going out there and being willing to run with the football, especially from the punter's position. So if you're Manitoba here at this moment, you're telling all of your linemen right at the line, hey, if she starts to move a little bit, you've got to contain that because she has burned us before, and you don't want to allow Team National Indigenous to continue building that momentum.
Absolutely. Don't overcommit on this.
A little bit of a stumble play, not necessarily the way it's drawn up, but Justice Barons getting the first down. She's going to be tackled from behind. And again, not what you would consider a drawn-up fake play, but the long snapper not quite getting it to Justice Barons. Ultimately, she's making it work.
Yeah, exactly. But good pursuit on the ball by 95 in gold. Lebongo there, and that could have been went for a lot longer. Easily could have been in Manitoba's territory if not for the good ball pursuit. But it keeps this offense out on the field here, allows the defense to get a little bit more tired for Manitoba, and maybe Team National Indigenous can take advantage.
A good-looking special teams play there. That has been where Team National Indigenous has made a bunch of the yards throughout this one, but Sienna DeChambeau under center. She fakes the initial handout, gives it to number 4, and that one is covered up nicely. Chloe McKay trying to ultimately break out a little bit on that one, only able to gain a couple.
once again, Lebongo there just stepping up in the hole with a sure tackle coming in from her defensive back spot over there. And she has some speed. She's out there right now, probably leading her team in tackles close to Haley Whitesell, and she's been a disruptive force from the defensive back position.
Shambo back under center. She's going to toss this one to Chloe McKay. McKay makes one move, able to get this one towards the sideline and coming very close to a first down marker. It's going to be 3rd and probably 1 at this point.
Chloe McKay out of the Red River Métis in Manitoba. Good patience on that run. Kind of saw that the hole was blocked up, cut it to the outside, found some room, and it's 3rd and very, very short here. See if National Indigenous can pick this one up.
DeChambeau again under center is going to just do the tush-push style play.
Looks like she got it.
Looks like she's able to get the first down.
Absolutely just ran right into the back of her offensive line of her center there and just pushed herself forward. Good play by National Indigenous. First time we've seen that. DeChambeau kind of using her legs to pick up the first down here, and good job by National Indigenous, and they're working their way ever closer to Manitoba's side of the field.
DeChambeau was fired up after that play. She receives the snap, motions left, and tries to get it to her sister. She does, and that is a nice-looking play, and this is a nice-looking drive.
Absolutely. Good throw and catch there, just using the boundaries, looking for that open space, getting away from the teeth of the defense where Manitoba's kind of dominated the line of scrimmage up the middle there. Get it to the outside, and looks like a Team Indigenous member is down right now. We'll see what happens there, but good throw and catch makes us 2nd and 1. Very manageable here.
Yeah, Faith DeChambeau able to pick that ball up after that one and just really gain a bunch on that play. Again, we haven't necessarily seen the connection that the sisters would like to make. I know coming into the tournament, there was a lot of talk and conversation that these two were really, really excited that they were going to be able to play with each other. This is the only year that that's ever going to happen. So they wanted to make the most of it, and it appears Team Indigenous player number 55, Claire Swoon, able to make her way off the field under her own power for the most part, and that's what you want to see.
Yeah, absolutely, and she's been an absolute force on the offensive line side of the ball, kind of controlling the line of scrimmage up there. DeChambeau hasn't had a lot of pressure in her face, except for a couple times from number 83 from Manitoba, but hopefully she could come back into this game. She's walking pretty slowly, and she is going to have her spot taken over by number 65, Piper Settle, out of the Cumberland House Cree Nation in Saskatchewan.
DeChambeau right back under center. This has been working for them so far in this game. Ooh. And that one is just swallowed up before it could get started. Team Manitoba's defense swallows that play up, and what a stuff.
Kind of looked like Ray Lewis, a circa Baltimore Orioles 2001, just ran into the arms of number 8, Sophie Zielinski, who laid the hurt down on the running back for Team National Indigenous, and that hurt me, and I'm up here.
DeChambeau motioning players. Snap a little bit high. She's looking to throw this one deep. Tries to find Cardinal, and in and out of the hands. Turnover on downs. Manitoba's defense does excellent work here.
Good job by number 8 once again. Zielinski, 2 plays in a row where she's been all around the ball. Just great throw by DeChambeau, hitting the hands of her receiver, but not giving up on the ball was number 8 to knock it away. And it is now first down for Manitoba. Good job by 8 and gold.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal play there from Zielinski, just really slowing things down. Now going back out there on the field is Browinski at the quarterback spot. She's been able to make the ball move, and the only point score so far in this one is that one's almost picked off.
Eden Gates had to play defensive back there. Came in there and hit number 4, Chloe McKay, prevented her from intercepting, and these long passes haven't been really working for Manitoba. They got to start going the short and intermediate route and also start running the ball a little bit more. Omar's had a couple of good runs so far in this game, and also, of course, the long touchdown run by Browinski.
And Browinski looking to make that. Pressure coming towards her. That one just goes in the hands of Omar. And we are able to get a first down. So the first real long pass we've seen this quarter ultimately is completed. And Team Manitoba, again, trying to look to extend their lead.
Jocelyn Borensky, who plays for the St. Vital Mustangs in Winnipeg, felt pressure coming off the edge and showed some real courage just standing in the pocket. You know you're going to get hit. And good job adjusting to the ball by Omar, and it's a first down for Manitoba.
This is a decent-looking run. Gates throws on the Derrick Henry stiff arm and able to just rumble and bumble and stumble for a 5-yard gain.
Absolutely, and once again, you just got to get back to that. That's your bread and butter on offense if you're Team Manitoba, and just picking up positive yards, not so much going for the home run every time. It's okay to hit a single every now and again or a double.
Without a doubt, and right now the doubles and singles are currently working for him. Rowinski has this one off to Gates. Eden Gates cutting this one back into the middle. She has extra space. She's still motoring. First down and more.
Yeah, absolutely. You're seeing the strength of Eden Gates taking a couple of Team National Indigenous for a ride, an unwarranted ride, as they get a first down. And once again, just keeping it simple, kind of going back to their run, their bread and butter that has worked so well for them in the past. And now they got a promising drive going here in the third quarter.
The other big thing this does for your defense for Manitoba, it gives you a break after that long extended drive. But Browinski back with it. We do have a penalty marker down on the field. That one in and the hands. Default. That one's going to be stopped, but have to wait for the penalty marker. Likely going to be an offside.
I believe that one of the offensive linemen lined off side for Manitoba. But right now you're seeing the coaches for Manitoba wave decline. So maybe this was against Team National Indigenous. I thought there was a little bit of a procedure call on Manitoba. But once again, that's why I'm not wearing stripes.
Just having to wait for the official call on this one, but nonetheless, it's still going to be first down. Well, we'll wait for the official's official.
Nah.
5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Also, the offside was on Team National Indigenous. I apologize.
Rawlings getting a little bit extra zealous on that particular play. But so this is going to be 1st and 5. Browinski hands this one off to Gates. Gates having to muscle her way back to the line of scrimmage, maybe for a gain of a yard. Team National Indigenous defense doing a fairly bang-up job at kind of slowing that one down.
Good job with pressure off the edge. Good time to call up the blitz. They're kind of running the ball down your throat a little bit here, so send some pressure, stack up the box, and that's exactly what Team National Indigenous did, and keeps them to a short gain. Let's see what's in the playbook here on second down.
Second and manageable. Still a lot you can do here. Right now, from things looking at it, we might potentially see a rush to the right from Browinski. It's actually motioning towards the left. Her receivers, all sorts of penalty markers exit the officials' pockets, and that one's just going to go in and out of the hands of Omar.
And some laundry on the carpet here. We'll see who's that going against. I'm going to say it's probably offside again, I'm guessing, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, because I'm not good at betting.
Last time we saw Manitoba in sort of this territory earlier in the game, we kind of saw some of these penalties come back to bite them a little bit, and right now it's Team National Indigenous ultimately coming back to hurt them a little bit. So we're going to go to 2nd and 1 here on this play.
Exactly.
So again, a play that didn't necessarily work out for Manitoba, ultimately going to give them a little bit of extra support here as this one goes to the right with Eden Gates. She finds a little bit of space. She's able to get the first down and more.
Absolutely, and a little bit of extracurricular there, and I believe Team National Indigenous is going to get nailed with a 15-yard, pushing Eden Gates out of bounds when she was easily 4 or 5 yards out of bounds. So once again, we're talking about penalties here. Penalties can either be drive killers or drive extenders, and right now the Team National Indigenous maybe displaying a little bit frustration to how the game's going. You're only down by 1 score here, but once again, they're just shooting themselves in the foot and allowing Manitoba to really drive and maybe put them up by 2 scores, which might be a little insurmountable based on how the offensively they're looking for.
Yeah, just one of those plays that, again, you had your opponent
out of bounds
past the sticks, but they were also out of bounds. But you're basically making it 1-0 at this point to try to get the first down. So
yeah, and it's Justice Barons there. Unfortunately, she's played a really, really great game. Just a little too overzealous there as they look to go for the tush push.
The heavy personnel trying to sneak this one in. The officials, at least one of them, is waving no at this point. So essentially the tush push on that one did not work. The heavy personnel out there trying for it yet again. Got to wonder, are you going to try to do this all 3 times?
Well, I think it was a bad snap because Turtsky just automatically dropped to her knees as she will push her way in eventually.
That was not easy by any stretch of the imagination. Addison Tursky able to pick this one up, force her way in. She didn't go quite up the middle. She had to go basically outside after the initial push. But nonetheless, Team Manitoba with their second touchdown of the game pretty much solely set up.
Good job by Team Indigenous there, kind of stalking the line, but good job with Turtsky not to just take what the offensive line was giving her, move to the right side, and now we got a 2-point kick, which is good by number 17, Kira Bowley.
So, Manitoba gets the touchdown off of some penalties from Team National Indigenous. Again, Team National Indigenous has had some momentum in this one, but that one just has to feel heart-wrenching because, again, you were playing so well, but now you find yourself down by a pair.
Yeah.
What do you need to do on offense?
Well, offensively, you were moving the ball quite well the last time drive. You let the arm of DeChambeau kind of work a little bit. We're using the flats a little bit more instead of the long, deep passes. And that drive kind of, it's tough on your morale because it was almost self-inflicted. A lot of penalties on that extended drives allowed Manitoba to move down the field. So we'll see what Team National Indigenous could do to get back into this game.
Nice looking kick right off of it, and really, really good effort on the kick defense on that one. Team Manitoba, they are playing with all sorts of swagger here at the moment.
Yeah, all the momentum is now in their favor. They're offensively, you just scored, so you're feeling really good about that. Your kicker just absolutely went down and laid the boom. Kira Bowley, who's done that a couple times. And now defensively, Team Indigenous kind of moved the ball on you last time, but you held firm, so you're feeling really good if you're a fan of the team in gold.
Team National Indigenous back there on offense. Couple of switches on the offensive line. DeChambeau fakes the toss, eventually gets it back to Cardinal. She has a lot of open space and trying to get there, doesn't quite get to the first down marker, but a nice short gain.
Yeah, and that's kind of your bread and butter too. Like, a lot of these misdirection plays have worked really well for Team Indigenous, where you're using the members who've gotten the ball a lot with plays like this, and then you just throw it to the outside. A lot of space and time over there, and if you were Team National Indigenous, I would do the misdirection game a little bit more going forward because it's worked for you.
And that is pretty much just as good as a run because, again, you talk about when the run game isn't working, short passes can ultimately substitute that run game. But DeChambeau motions her receivers, and she's looking. She has all sorts of space. One of her receivers, I think that was her sister, ends up taking a little bit of a tumble. Faith was the intended player on that play. Just ended up falling down on the turf.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, I've been really, really impressed with DeChambeau's pocket presence. She steps up in the pocket. She's not afraid to throw the ball with pressure in front of her, and that's an unfortunate play because I believe she would have picked up the first down easily, but her sister unfortunately fell on this turf, which the turf over the last couple days have been a little bit soaked with rain, so it might be a little slippery down there, and it's unfortunate because that was a promising looking throw.
Turf monster does it again.
Yep.
Justice Barons with it, ends up pulling this one back after facing some of the pressure. Not able to get away this time. Manitoba's special team was ready for it, and they are in excellent field position.
You're not going to beat Lebongo on the outside. You're not going to beat her in the foot race. You could kind of see Justin Barron. She did have some room on that right side there, but all of a sudden coming around Ayana Lebongo, who just made a fantastic tackle. She's defensively, she's one of my stars of the game right now for Manitoba. 95 in goal. She's played a whale of a game.
Lebongo showing off the dance moves after
Yeah,
that play
absolutely.
as well. Got to show the confidence
A
when
little
you can.
two-step. I like that.
Berwinski is going to follow her team left and then eventually cuts this one around right. She's being chased after, but she has some space. She cuts this one along the sidelines. Can she make one extra juke? She does. She goes into the end zone for a score. Her second rushing touchdown of the game.
Jocelyn Borensky saw a goal, went left, saw absolutely nothing, looked right, and just saw the gates of heaven opened up. Only one Team National Indigenous player over there, and she uses her speed to beat the angle. Number 4, Chloe McKay, and she does it herself with her legs. And what worked in the second half, in the first half? It's working in the second half for Team Manitoba. Good to see that confidence. It's building up for a big game on Saturday if they're able to pull out this victory.
And you know what? We've seen this play from Manitoba so often where Team National Indigenous had started to come back with it and started to slow it down. Good job from Borwinski recognizing that that play wasn't going to work, cuts it over to the right side and just sends it and gets it into the back of the end zone. And so with the PAT no good on that play, it is currently 20-0 for Team Manitoba. But again, that play, that drive ultimately set up by the great field position.
Oh, absolutely. Great field position. Unfortunate from Team National Indigenous, unable to convert, but that's all Jocelyn Borensky, just with the vision, with the poise, and we're going to see maybe she was a little bit tired on this hold because she put the finger down and then just dropped the ball. And that's unfortunate. Number 17, Kira Bally kind of just threw out of her hands and just ran towards the sidelines. But a 20-0 lead is nothing to scoff at. Good job by Team Manitoba. And offensively, we got a Team National Indigenous needs to get into this using the misdirection plays that we talked about. We'll see what they got going here.
Nice looking kick to start this one off. Going to be collected by Team National Indigenous. Can they slow them down? Yes, they do. This Manitoba team is playing with all sorts of swagger and confidence.
It is unbelievable how you can kick off the ball, be the first one downfield, and make the tackle. Good job by Bowie there, who's just an absolute heat-seeking missile on special teams, makes the tackle and makes the job of the National Indigenous all that harder as we come to the end of the third quarter.
At this time, we'd like to recognize the hard work and contributions of all the volunteers here at Shouldice Athletic Park, and most importantly, our tournament committee, as well as all the volunteers from all the provinces that are participating, providing a fantastic opportunity to all the athletes playing in the 2025 U18 Women's National Championship. We'd also like to thank some of our football sponsors: Football Canada, Football Alberta, the CBFA, SAFFL, the Calgary Stampeders, and NFL Canada.
Absolutely. Maybe one last play here on third down as there's 9 seconds now back on the clock. So we'll have one more before the end of the third quarter. We'll do the fourth quarter stretch.
Who's going to sing the song?
Nah.
Are you going to start singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game at this point?
Well, I am from Saskatchewan, so I might start singing Last Saskatchewan Pirate, but we don't want people's ears to bleed in the stadium. It was an offside, so you can't end the quarter on a penalty, so Team National Indigenous will do one more time.
Toss outside, and Team Manitoba just stuffing that one. Everything seems to be working for them here at the moment, whether it's on the offense, the defense, or special teams. That one goes backwards.
Absolutely. Just the speed. It's the speed of Manitoba's defense right now. It's kind of giving Team National Indigenous fits. The speed of their linebacking core, of their defensive backs, and I believe the quarter should be done now. as the timekeeper here is. Referee, 37 coming in. Wait, oh, yeah, there we go. And quarter's done now.
So it's going to be the final play of the third quarter here, or at
My
least
goodness.
it should be, and we're going to be moving the ball. Well, nonetheless, moving everything down to the opposite side, so having a little fun at this point. But so far, again, coming into this third quarter from halftime, it was 6-0.
Yes.
And this was a very, very even matchup between both of these two teams.
Exactly.
And pretty much since then, Manitoba has really taken the reins and controlled the pace of this game.
Well, they went to simple offense. They went to their bread and butter that worked, running the ball, getting the hands of their playmakers, Eden Gates, of Jocelyn Borensky, who used great vision to find the find touchdown. And of course, penalty-aided drive. Unfortunately, the frustration maybe a little bit setting in for Team National Indigenous, but keep things simple. Don't keep things complicated, and usually good things are going to happen.
DeChambeau initially looked like she was going to roll right. She's going to toss this one. Might have had a little bit more space to run with it on that one, just over the head of Cardinal.
Yeah, and it's tough. As a receiver, you're always taught to just keep running, don't stop. And unfortunately, number 9, Arabella Cardinal, just stopped running halfway through her route. If she would have kept going, she would have had a great gain, a good opportunity to make a huge positive play for Team National Indigenous, but unfortunately falls incomplete, and now the punt team is out, or potentially the punt run team is out for Team National Indigenous.
And for Cardinal on that one, she initially probably saw her quarterback running and didn't think that anything extra was going to happen. But Barons with the kick, not as far as it was we've seen from her in the past, but a nice reception there. And Zelensky continues to roll my. Just says, I am not going down, and I don't care who's going to try to stop me. What a play.
Absolutely. Number 8, Sophie Zelensky, who plays for the Sturgeon Heights Huskies in Winnipeg, ran over at least 3 or 4 Team National Indigenous. Sometimes as a defensive player, when you get the ball, your eyes kind of light up a little bit, and you just make a play, and you never know. Maybe with all these injuries here on offense, maybe we got a new fullback for Team Manitoba.
And again, Team Manitoba putting themselves in phenomenal position, ball on the 34-yard line. Again, if you're Team National Indigenous, this just has to feel like the world is on your shoulders here at the moment. If you're Team Manitoba, you are just enjoying all you can for this great field position.
Yeah, it's kind of crumbling all around you if you're Team Team National Indigenous right now. It needs a huge stop on defense.
Haywood able to make one move, makes another one. She has some open space. She has nothing but green grass. That's going to be a touchdown, but we do have a penalty marker down on the field.
I think it was number 7 who was just a little bit too overzealous, literally picked up Justin Sperrins and took her a little bit for a ride, so I'm going to expect this one to come back.
Yeah, that was an interesting looking penalty at the time, but a great looking play. Randy Haywood having to make a move around an initial tackler, then has to make another move to get away from a second. But once she got away, it was all open races. The officials having a long discussion about this because they want to make sure they get this call right.
This is a huge play.
If it is on the defense, it's a touchdown, but if it's on the offense, trying to make everything situated and sorted. But again, another explosive play that could potentially be coming back. We'll have to see. But Manitoba firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, and you could see Hayward kind of pleading and begging right now, trying to will the referees to call it against Team National Indigenous as they are still discussing and conferring. And it looks... holding. I believe it's coming back.
Holding on Manitoba is what it's going to be. Luckily, we have an extra radio in here so we can hear some of the officials' calls on this one. So it is going to be coming back. So that excellent play from Randy Haywood, unfortunately coming back.
And it was number 7, Brianna Dufault, who just unfortunately grabbed a hold of Justice Barons and just decided to take her on a ride down the field, show her the sights of the 20 and 15-yard line. But unfortunately, you can't do that, and the ball will be coming back on Team National Indigenous' 30-yard line.
Coming back. So let's see what Manitoba draws up here. Lewinsky.
Fumble. Uh-oh.
And that is a broken play. The handoff looks like both the option for Bowinski and Haywood could either take that one. I think both players fighting for the ball on the same side. And that one goes for Team National Indigenous, and that might just be the break they need to kind of build some of this confidence
Absolutely.
back.
You're going to see on this replay here, and like you said, there's just a little bit of fight between the running back and quarterback as the quarterback saw the pressure off the side, and ball is recovered by number 18, Malibu Granjam, out of the Fort McKay First Nations in Alberta. So she was pretty fired up grabbing that ball, and it's always nice to make a positive play and U18 Nationals.
Yeah, get a turnover, something that we haven't seen a ton of in this game, only the second one here. So, and you know what, when your offense has struggled a little bit on these last couple drives, getting that defensive stop can ultimately give them a little bit of juice. But let's see how DeChambeau and the offensive company reacts. Chambeau under center, motions her running back to go the other way, fakes that one, turns back, and finds Cardinal. She has nothing but open grass, but can she get there all alone?
Get on your horse.
To the 40, and she ends up getting taken down. What a play from this National Indigenous offense. That has been in the making for some time.
Exactly, and once again, it was the misdirection. It was the end around. You're going to see on this replay, you fake the end around to number 20 here coming, and Manitoba bid on it, and a perfect throw by DeChambeau short arms that right into the arms of Arabata Cardinal, and unbelievable. Just like that, you flip the field position, and that is a huge confidence booster for the crowd, for your bench. They were fired up after that.
Yeah, and if you can go out there and get another big play like that, if you can get into the end zone on this play, get those 2 points, again, it's not like we're talking to being a massive, massive lead at this point. There's so many times in Canadian football you've seen a game that's 3 possessions all change in just a moment. DeChambeau finds her younger sister, Faith DeChambeau. She cuts this one in, ends up getting wrapped up at around the 32-yard line for a short game.
But hey, it's positive. It's positive. It's positive yards. Once again, just using that short misdirection play, kind of faked the pitch, found number 5, Faith DeChambeau, a little sister-to-sister action there. And yeah, it's a positive play, and this is the deepest you've been in Manitoba's territory all game. You need to come away with points here.
Points are going to be ideal without a shadow of a doubt. DeChambeau has to step up into the pocket and tries to find a receiver. Does she end up coming away with it? No, she doesn't. That was a play where DeChambeau felt some pressure and had to launch it. So we are coming to 3rd and 9.
Unfortunately, just two National Indigenous players in the same vicinity, and whenever you do that, you draw defenders to there, and it looked like actually number 9 Arabella Cardinal and also Helena McKay were fighting over the ball, and it looked like it was just, okay, who's going to come away with it? I thought they both caught it as it came down the ground. Ball hits the turf. It looks like Team National Indigenous is taking a timeout here.
Speaking on that one, the 2 players looking like it was an offensive player versus a defensive player, but they happen to both be offensive players going, no, it's my ball, it's my ball, and
just screaming at each other, I'm on your team.
It's like what you see from the center fielder and one of either left or right both going, I got it, and they end up making that collision against each other. That's kind of what we saw a little bit on that particular occasion. But again, this is a sort of drive where if you're in Team National Indigenous, again, you need to end up finding 9 yards here on this play. It is a very big, important play here. But if you can ultimately find that first down, you can ultimately find a way to get into the end zone. That is, you're keeping your defense off, which is allowing them to get a breather, get some water, get some electrolytes. but that also is confidence builder because, again, you haven't scored so far here in Nationals.
No.
You want to continue to try to put on a good show,
Yep.
potentially try to come back in this game, and this has been a really good drive for them.
Yeah, exactly. You need to find something in the playbook that, like you said, is going to come up with 9 yards. If I was offensive coordinator, I know that the misdirection is really working right now. I'm trying to do a little bit of misdirection as well. But as the defensively for Manitoba, you've seen the misdirection plays a whole heck of a lot. Do you hand it off, kind of like Friday Night Lights, where you kind of just run it down their throats, like they said? Where we'll have to see. This is an interesting play call.
Shambo all alone. She gets the ball, and that one's going to be blown dead pretty much the second that the play started.
Early movement draws the penalty flag.
Is it early procedure?
Well, we'll have to see. I think we might be seeing Team National Indigenous.
Because if it's a time call violation out of the timeout,
Those are the ones that are just
you
the biggest
can't have
killer.
that. You can't have that.
Putting on the official call here.
We have procedure.
Procedure, yep.
Number Indigenous. 5 penalties. Replay.
So procedure penalty is going to march Team
Oh,
National
no.
Indigenous back again. They were already in some tough odds with a 3rd and 9. This brings them back to a 3rd and 14.
And we'll see if this changes the play call here. Do you run the same play or do you try to switch it up? It looks like it might be the same play.
DeChambeau all alone in the backfield. Ball snapped. Looking downfield, has to step up into the pocket, and the pass is completed, but well short of the first down marker.
And there's only so much you can do when it's 3rd and 14, especially in football like this. DeChambeau put it right into McKay's hands, but great coverage by number 41 in gold, Haley Whitesell. Said her name a couple times today as she has taken over for Sofia Fagerstrom Castro, who left the game, and turnover on downs, and that promising drive is now snuffed out, and unfortunately penalties kind of shot him in the foot again.
Thank you to some of our amazing sponsors: Hilberg & Berg, Oculus Private Wealth, Lion Venture Weddings, Seek Signs, Tourism Calgary, the City of Calgary, and the Make a Diff Sport Foundation, and the Government of Alberta, as this is a nice looking run, as that was a late stiff arm at the end of that play.
Maya Watson, haven't said her name yet, takes the handoff out of Swan River, plays for the Swan Valley Bengals, her first year here in the tournament. Good little gain here, 7 yards, and it'll be 2nd down and 3.
And again, with how much time we still have left in this game, there still is 8 minutes, but with the score that you have, trying to almost run out the clock and just leave with confidence is the way that you want to do it. And Watson able to make another run and slowed up. A little bit of a late push there, but kind of the Team National Indigenous defender kind of got that little bit of a late push, but ultimately pulled back to make it not a penalty.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse there. We'll see. It is a 1st down for Team Manitoba. Good job once again by Watson, recognizing, hey, I could just go down. I got the 1st down. Don't put yourself in a position to get hurt there. And 96 in gold stepped into this game and made her mark on it in this drive.
Lewinsky all alone in the backfield. Scans the field, tries to make this toss, and a little bit of pass interference on that play without a doubt.
Oh, that's such a tough play as a defensive back. You're in the hip pocket as a receiver. The ball was well underthrown, but this comeback that 96 Watson tried to do, unfortunately, number 18, Granjam just had to grab on, and this will be another 1st down for Manitoba.
Yeah, you often talk with quarterbacks and offensive coordinators and play callers, and they say, you know what, if you have one-on-one, sometimes don't be afraid to throw it a little bit short, because oftentimes your receiver knows exactly where the ball is. A lot of times defenders don't, so you kind of have to force them to make that comeback, and oftentimes you get a lot of pass interference.
Yeah, exactly. When you're in a trail position as a defensive back, your back is to the ball. It's impossible. I don't know how some defensive backs play football without getting pass interference literally every play. I guess that's why they're defensive backs, and that's what they get paid for a living. But 1st down for Manitoba here.
Wensky scanning the field. Eventually tries to make that toss a little bit too high for Randy Haywood. Haywood had a lot of space to ultimately try to run with that football, but just a little bit high.
Also, Chloe McKay's eyes, I could see them from here. They were as big as saucers. You're going to see on this replay, she was in the vicinity, hands up, and if Haywood did not get a hand on it, that would have been a pick for the Team National Indigenous, and that would have been a huge play. But good job playing defensive back by Haywood.
Berwinski right there, makes the toss, gets it over to Randy Haywood, able to cut this one in, only able to gain a couple on that play. Looks like it's about 2 or 3, so it's going to bring us to a 3rd and long.
It'll be interesting to see what Team Manitoba does. Will they punt it, try to pin them deep, or will they try to go for it, pick up the first down? This is a risky call here, because if you don't get it, you give this Team National Indigenous offense, who has a little bit of confidence after last drive, some pretty good field position. So we'll see what's in the playbook here.
Right at midfield, Berwinski ends up bobbling that one right off the exchange. And it's sort of kicked down on the ground. Team National Indigenous is going to be able to pick up the football. So a turnover on downs was likely going to happen from the second of that play. Ultimately going to get a defensive turnover.
And once again, it's Justice Barons in the vicinity now with an interception and a fumble recovery. And once again, it's just kind of wise, just a little bit of a head scratcher. Your defense has been playing really well. If you pin them deep, you essentially end this game. But now you give a little bit of spark of life to this Team National Indigenous offense, and we'll see what they have cooked up. Big play last drive. Let's see if they can actually put some points on the board.
This is a good opportunity for National Indigenous to try to get something going, but again, we've talked so much about, for Team Manitoba, that center quarterback exchange has been a little bit of a problem. But here we see DeChambeau has to move this one, gets it over to Helena McKay. McKay gets right around the line of scrimmage, might have actually lost a yard on that play.
Sophia Zelensky, once again, her pursuit to this football has been absolutely fantastic. Kind of playing out defensive back there, not linebacker, due to the injuries suffered by a lot of the Team Manitoba's defense, and she just snuffed that out. That was a good-looking pass there, and she just ran over, like I said, like a heat-seeking missile, and just snuffed that out, and now it is 2nd and long for Team National Indigenous.
The defense for Manitoba seems to know exactly the play that is being run all the time, but DeChambeau, with some motion, scanning the field, looks to try to take that one a little bit deeper, can't quite get it to a receiver. 3rd and 12.
That is a tough play there. Good decision by DeChambeau there, because she looked off McKay, and the entirety of Manitoba's defense kind of snuck over with McKay. As you're going to see, if number 5 just kind of, if she looks for number 5, she's wide open, and that would have been a huge game. Just unfortunately, just couldn't see her in time.
Faith DeChambeau completely wide open on that play. She's likely going to comment to her sister, hey, I was
wide open.
If you toss me that ball, it's a house call.
It's very, 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 would have been a very good play, but unfortunately, maybe some pressure in the face of DeChambeau made her rush that throw a little bit. But once again, misdirection. Misdirection was a wide open play there, but we'll see what they have for 3rd down and long.
DeChambeau under center. Fakes the handoff, tries to toss that one, able to complete the pass, but for only 2. That is going to be a turnover on downs.
Absolutely, and just not a whole heck of a lot in the playbook for 3rd and 10. It's just really tough, because you have that really good confidence builder of that long pass play, and then you stall for 2 straight drives, right? Good job on by Manitoba's defense, though. Once again, Zelensky in the area just to knock her down. Just kind of standing over top of her. Good job. She might be my defensive player of the game so far for Manitoba.
Let's see what is going to happen here on this play. A couple of redirects, hand off to the handoff, and Team National Indigenous able to slow that one after about a 1 to 2 yard gain.
Bella Kutu, who plays running back for the Falcon Football Club, with her first carry of the game. 2-yard game. Good pursuit to the ball once again. Justice Barons was in the vicinity, but then again, she's been in the vicinity all game for Team National Indigenous. Second down, Manitoba.
Berwinski hands that one off to Boley. Able to make a couple.
Trying to strip the ball.
Load up right around the line. You actually might be correct. The ball might have come out on that one, but Team Manitoba able to jump on top of it and continue to fight for another day.
Yeah, I think the referees blew that dead before the ball actually popped out, and that's smart by Justice Barons. Wrapped up, attacked the ball, tried to rip the ball out, and ultimately she did, but unfortunately the referees blew it dead, and is now third down for Manitoba. So your defense once again does the job for Team National Indigenous, and just unfortunately offensively is kind of letting them down a little bit on this game, but also some really good positive stuff going into the final day on Saturday.
So the punt team makes their way out on the field, but again, we have seen a handful of times from all of the teams in this tournament.
Yep.
Just because the punt team's out there doesn't necessarily mean it's a punt, as that one's a little bit of a shank right along the lines. And we do have a penalty marker down, but this is a little bit of an awkward situation because no one on that one was going to be able to give 5 yards.
Yeah, our PA announcer said it was a low line drive kick. That was a ground ball to the second baseman there. Unfortunately, the first bad punt of the day for Bowley. You don't see that a whole heck of a lot, but you know she's going to shake that off and come back even better. I'll be interested to see because I believe it's no yards on the play, but it's not line of gain. So Team National Indigenous, once again, really good field position here for offense. It's not over yet. I've seen crazier stuff happen in 3-down football with 2:49 left to go in this game.
Best way I can describe that punt is my drive off the open tee box of just thinking that I've got everything situated and sorted and just skips along the ground as opposed to bouncing up and down. But yeah, no yards is going to be it. But let's see what Team National Indigenous can do out here on the offense. Again, unlikely that they're going to be able to come back in this game, but if you can at least get that goose egg off the scoreboard, get your first points of the tournament.
Get some points.
And even if you can make it just a one-score game, that is something to say the least. DeChambeau fakes the toss, tosses that one behind, gets it to her sister, Faith DeChambeau. That one's maybe about a yard gain.
Yep, exactly. And it's tough. You know Manitoba's kind of sitting on that now, but once again, it's just the speed of this Manitoba defense. They just pursue the ball so well. They're such a good tackling team, and I've just been really, really impressed so far with the team from Manitoba. And yeah, and we'll see what they got here. Let's see if they can break a goose egg. I would like to see Team National Indigenous break the goose egg here. Get a little bit of confidence.
Continue to build some momentum up.
Have some fun out there, right? Like, that's what football's supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun.
DeChambeau under center. She hands this one off. Couple of good moves. That one's just going to be tossed down like a rag doll. Chloe McKay just taken down. Maybe got taken down a little bit too aggressively on that one by one of the Team Manitoba players, and that is going to be a penalty marker.
I believe it was Zelensky once again. Maybe she got up top a little bit too much, maybe contacted the face mask a little bit. We'll see what the referees called. It was the head referee that threw the flag in the backfield, so she had the best look at this. So maybe this is a drive extender for Team National Indigenous, something that they haven't gotten all game. Team Manitoba has been very good on the penalty side of the football.
Waiting on the official call here. 2:15 still remaining in this contest. Just a reminder to all of our fans here today to stick around after the game for our Player of the Game awards. And Brendan and Chris here in the broadcast booth with you. Day number 2 of the 2025 U18 National Women's Championship.
Heck yeah.
And so far, game number 1, it's been a fun one.
It's been a fun one, absolutely. Where would you rather be on a Wednesday than watching some football, watching these girls, one, learn the game, better their skills, but also go to battle, go to compete, and it's been a great defensive battle so far in this football game.
DeChambeau steps up into the pocket, tries to make that toss, eventually finds her sister for a short gain. And a nice looking play.
DeChambeau, honestly, like, her pocket presence is incredible. She has been slinging this ball over with authority. Kind of reminds me a little bit, if I can go back in time, a little bit of Henry Burris, if you will. The fastball that Henry used to throw. DeChambeau definitely is displaying that. She has a heck of an arm on her.
Her coaches describe her as a high football IQ player as she tries to step up here, tries to make that one, just can't get it, and we are going to have a pass interference. So Team National Indigenous able to gain a little bit more off of the penalty.
Yeah, exactly, and that's just one of those times where you're in a chase position as a defender, you don't look to the ball, and actually the new rules are you can't even put your hand in front of the face to block the vision of the receiver, and that's what it kind of looked like a little bit. Number 41 for Gold, Haley Whitesell, in a chase position trying to chase after Helena McKay, and this is the best field position so far for Team National Indigenous. The air is starting to get a little bit excited as the team in red gets a little bit closer to the end zone.
Not quite first and goal here at the moment, so Team National Indigenous can gain a first down.
Yep.
DeChambeau with it. Has to step up in the pocket. That one's almost picked off by number 8, Zelensky. Felix Zelensky was feasting on that one and almost tried to bring that one back to the house.
Looked to the heavens there, kind of looked at your hands. I'm always surprised. The players wear their gloves, these gloves, and they're quite sticky, how the ball could just absolutely fly through, and it actually shows how hard DeChambeau is throwing the ball. And it is now second down and 3 down territory.
DeChambeau with it, rolls to her right, steps up into the pocket, able to find her receiver Cardinal for a short gain, getting that one right around the 6-yard line.
It's 3rd down territory. The deepest has been 3rd down on the 5 for Manitoba, and just try to get a little bit closer. Good catch, pitch and catch once again by the DeChambeau sisters, and here we go. This is essentially probably one of the last opportunities for Team Indigenous to get a touchdown here today.
DeChambeau with it. Has all sorts of space. She tosses that one in, just cannot connect. And it comes so mightily close. That's going to be a turnover on downs. Again, this was one of the better drives from this Team National Indigenous squad here in today's game. And they just unfortunately couldn't nab that one.
And a little bit of a hold there on Labongo on the receiver for Team National Indigenous. Kind of slowed down the route from the receiver. Good battle on the outside, and DeChambeau put the ball where the receiver needed to be. Unfortunately got slowed down a little bit, but that's a big positive thing that they're going to play on film, get ready for Saturday, and say, like, look, guys, the misdirection's working for us, and nothing to hang your head about. You played a heck of a football game here today, especially defensively, and they might have come up with a fumble. No, they didn't.
It was very close. Again, if you're Team Manitoba, the biggest thing that you're going to be talking about going into this one for Sunday, or for Saturday, I should say, is the quarterback-center exchange, because as we can see here, as it got sent just a little bit low, maybe took the eye off the football there, but when you are in your own territory, the last thing that you want to have happen is potentially a safety to come over. So just trying to secure this football.
Exactly. Maybe go under center more.
Ball snapped. That one almost bobbled the exchange from the quarterback to the handoff, but you're able to gain at least a couple on that play. Get out of the shadow of your own end zone at least a little bit, but 3rd and long on this one. Again, we said it might have been the last situation for Team National Indigenous, but again, you never know. Happen here.
Something could happen. You saw the punt last time from Team Manitoba from Bowie, so we need a good. So Manitoba needs a good one here. Justice Barons is currently on Manitoba's 42-yard line, so some pretty good field position potentially for Team National Indigenous if Bowie can get a good boot out.
Punt is up, and it is
that's a good one.
Justice Barron all alone in the backfield. No matter what, Team National Indigenous is going to have some good yardage, and a big truck hit by Justice Barons, trying to get a little bit extra. 43 seconds still remaining in this contest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see if Team National Indigenous can get their first points of this tournament.
And you can see Justice Barons on this replay here, just kind of looking around. Hey, where's there going to be an open? Tried to truck stick over at number 83, Daphne Amoritz, but Amoritz wrapped up, take it, and now Team National Indigenous will have the ball on Manitoba's 30-yard line.
Talk about giving your offense that last little bit of juice in this game, saying, you know what, we're not going to worry too much. Hey, go out there, go do your thing, and really apply some pressure.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty exciting if you're Team National Indigenous, just to, get some points here. Just to break the goose egg. Something that you can go home tonight and say, hey, we're not a goose egg anymore.
DeChambeau, able to gain 5 or 6 on that play. Continuing to move this ball, 37 seconds. Again, under center, we've seen this National Indigenous squad be fairly effective when they've played under the ball. Again, you often talk about, even in college football, both Canada and America, that you don't see a lot of teams go under center.
Nope.
But what that does is that opens up so much space and misinformation of what the defense knows what you're going to do. And
exactly.
for this National Indigenous squad, they've been using it to full effect.
Yeah, absolutely. They've done a really, really good job. Highlight by DeChambeau for sure.
DeChambeau has to step up.
Ooh.
Ends up almost knuckleballing that one down. Not really sure what happened. Maybe her hand got hit at the last moment, but it is going to be 3rd and 5 here on this play.
I think if you look at this replay, she wanted to throw it to her receiver, but then she saw that Manitoba was in the vicinity, so she's tried to tuck it, and unfortunately it squirted out. Yeah, you could see she tried to hold on. Luckily that wasn't called a fumble, as we remember the tuck rule.
I was just going to mention Tom Brady versus the Raiders. Mention that to any Raiders fan in pain and suffering. It follows their eyes as Chloe McKay gets the handoff here and is not able to break through. So Team Manitoba, with 26 seconds remaining, likely going to try to kneel this game out and just drain the clock. And again, an improvement for Team Manitoba here today. Ultimately going to get the victory 20-0. Improvement for Team Indigenous as well. Again, lots to work on to try to continue to go into the final day of the tournament. But, there's definitely some upside for both of these teams here tonight.
Exactly. And we have to remember they probably have only been together as a team for a couple weeks here before the tournament. Definitely they had tryouts, but as a put-together team, so they're still trying to feel each other out here. And they put a lot of good things on film that they can look back as they go into their final game Saturday and say, look, guys, this is what's working for us. Let's do this. Let's turn it around. And for Team Manitoba, defensively, you were fantastic. You ran to the ball. You made huge tackles. And offensively, I think we found number 94, Jocelyn Borensky. When she uses her legs, things happen on the football field.
And you know what, for Borensky as well, she didn't necessarily get the start in today's game, but using her legs opened up the passing game as well. So again, the passing game, not necessarily the biggest prevalent use for both teams, but it was one of those things where you saw a lot of openings that worked for that. And that's something that Team Manitoba can ultimately utilize for next Saturday's game. But that's going to do it here in this contest, folks. Team Manitoba walks away with the victory, 20-0 over Team National Indigenous. Brendan and Chris here in the booth with you. We ask you to please stick around for our players of the game. Chris, I know we got the sheet in front of us, but who did you think stood out for both teams today?
Well, for both teams, for Team National Indigenous offensively, their quarterback. Their quarterback played incredible. Her pocket presence, the way that she stepped up in the pocket, some of the throws that she made were absolutely incredible. So she would be my pick offensively. Defensively, you got to go Justice Barons. Interception, fumble recovery, great with the kicks, converted a few third downs while running the ball. So I would say Justice Barons would be. And then offensively, hard to argue with number 94, Jocelyn Borensky, the quarterback for Team Manitoba. 2 touchdowns today, over 100 yards rushing. rushing. And defensively, number 8, Sofia Zelensky, has been an absolute force out there, kind of playing that defensive back role, having to step in to a role that is uncomfortable to her. So those are my 4 players that I thought played an amazing game today.
Yeah, and you just got to talk about the resilience from both of these two teams. Again, Team Manitoba hadn't come in and scored a point throughout this tournament, and neither had Team National Indigenous, so both teams were looking for that. And again, this was a really hard-fought battle from pretty much start to finish between both squads. Again, from the first half, this game was essentially just one play from being completely different. And Team Manitoba really took over this game midway through the third quarter. And Team National Indigenous, I would say, definitely had a little bit of the better of the fourth quarter. And again, both teams should be able to hang their heads up high. Both played really, really well. And Chris, this was another fun game here.
Yeah, defensively, Team National Indigenous, I was super impressed with the way that they pursued the ball, the way that they shut down playmakers like Eden Gates, like number 4, Randy Haywood, and really it was only two big runs by Jocelyn Borensky that kind of broke this game open. So a lot of good things to recognize to look at on tape as they prepare for their final game on Saturday.
So we are taking a look at our award winners here in this game, going to be presented by, don't have it written down, but apologies for that one, but nonetheless, Raven Tavergill, the defensive player for National Indigenous. Again, we mentioned her name a ton throughout this broadcast. Again, she was phenomenal on the defensive side of the ball, playing both linebacker and defensive back, and making a ton of key necessary tackles. And then for our most valuable offensive player, Sienna DeChambeau, again, she played an incredible game here today.
Incredible.
Her passing yards would be a lot higher from a couple of drops here and there, but again, that long pass to Cardinal in the fourth quarter is one that really stands out, and again, played a really, really phenomenal game. The defensive player of the game, Elena Bahi, getting that one for Manitoba. Again, the amount of times that we mentioned her, she got some plays on offense as well, making that, and also was a very key special teamers.
Absolutely, and usually as a defensive player, if we don't say your name, you're having a really good game because the ball's not in your vicinity because you're playing really well. And number 94, hard to argue, over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Jocelyn Borensky, great game from the quarterback who should be the quarterback going forward, especially in running situations.
Yeah, ultimately played a really, really good, solid game from top to bottom. But this was a fun game. Game number 4 of the 2025 U18 National Women's Championship, all in the books. For Chris, I'm Brendan saying thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you here for game number 5.